So do you have a mask to match each outfit, Barbara?
I do.
I thought so.
I have sunglasses that match it too.
It looks nice.
Oh, thank you.
All right, that's ready to start. When you are, you've already started streaming.
Yeah.
Oh dear, I thought that clock was fast. Instead, I'm slow.
I don't know what we're gonna do with all this crowd. We're gonna have enough seating?
I don't know. Everybody can socially distance too.
Socially still here. Physically.
Thank you.
Scoot over just a bunch.
You ever run into Kenya? I'm getting a good supply here.
Okay, yeah,
Shove it out, no?
Let's see, we need Dave,
Sit right on the corner, that will give Paul a little more.
They'll be right here.
Dave and Paul.
If I
Wait,
sit,
you scoot ahead, you poke yourself and it wakes you up.
yeah,
Oh,
does that give you a little more?
yep.
Smidgen towards
I'm
you?
we-
perfectly
Okay,
Paul up
just
here.
want to be respectful. So we can get Paul.
Don't start for a minute, Carl. I got something on that.
That's right, we've got you on first.
That's a great time to put stuff in your
What
mouth.
thinking?
John called me last night and wanted me to help him with his prayer, so he's got a very good one written down.
All right.
I'd never seen a written prayer until I was on my mission, and I went to a graduation, and they had the minister go, yeah, good old prayer. He went on and on.
Yeah, my graduation.
All right.
Wrote the prayer.
Well, welcome, everyone. I think there's only there's two people here who aren't part of the county. Well, at least aren't employed or serving some way. So welcome, we appreciate you being here. We'll begin with an opening given by Councilman John White.
Yep. I'd like to make my remarks in the form of a prayer. Our kind, gracious Father in heaven, we wish to express our gratitude to you for all the many blessings we enjoy, for this country in which we live, for the county, for the many blessings we have every day, for those people that serve us and take care of us, to the beautiful air, to the beautiful surroundings. And we ask you to bless us that the decisions we make can help preserve those things which we all love so much. We ask you to bless those serving in the military, those that are working for the Sheriff's Department, for the firefighters, for those that are working hospitals and services that are protecting us this time. Please bless them and let them know how much gratitude we have for them. We ask you to bless us that as we go through life and as we serve here, we'll always try to be better people tomorrow than we were today. These things we ask and pray for in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
If you would you please stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance along with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. I'm going to take this off so you can hear me better. We do have a motion to approve our agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And approval of the minutes of our last meeting of July 28th. Are there any corrections or additions?
I had a question. And I apologize, I don't have the page number because I forgot to charge this. But on the vote, on our green waste discussion, I thought it was John that voted no and Paula voted yes.
No, John voted yes.
And Paul voted no. Okay,
Yes.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
okay, thank you for clarifying. So I move to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, any follow-up to the minutes other than the correction that you,
Question?
okay. Craig, it's a report of our county executive.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Oh, because I had onions on my sandwich, I'm taking that off. It's always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And usually it's in my truck when I should have it on somewhere. Well, okay, to start off with, I do not have any appointments tonight. I do have the monthly expense report and check register for July, and I will present that to the chair for your signature.
Thank you.
And we'll forward that to the clerk. And the only other item that I have right now is the just a brief report on the county fair. From all reports that I've heard, everyone has been happy about the results of the fair. We had, I think, as I was there and observed what was taking place, there was a lot more, I think, emphasis or spotlight on the youth and their projects. And I know we had some great exhibits in the event center with our home arts and other events or other exhibits there. So all in all, I think things went very well. Of course, we're all going to be looking forward to the coming couple of weeks. I don't anticipate that we'll see any spike in our COVID cases. Other areas in the state have had similar infection rates that have moved forward with a countywide events like this, and we haven't seen any problems or difficulties. As we looked at the rodeo and at the fair, individuals were wearing masks. Some individuals were not wearing masks. Everybody was being kind and civil. I didn't hear or see any conflict between citizens that way, and I think everyone was doing their best to be kind and to get along. And so we appreciate those who were in attendance. We appreciate our fair committee, especially our fair chairman, Lane Parker, and also our rodeo chairman, Lamont Polson, and his committee for the great work that they did in making this a success. One thing I'd like to point out, and Dave Erickson has pointed out, that our junior livestock sale, there were 34 fewer animals than last year, but there was almost $100,000 more in sales this year than there was last year. So $517,000 of sales, and that money goes to the youth that put the time in to work on these projects, and it will go to their future education and other endeavors, missions, things like that. So that wouldn't have taken place if we hadn't held the fair. And I think we facilitated a lot of good, positive things by moving forward with the fair, and a good feeling in the community of unity and celebration of what and who we are here in Cache County. So thanks to all of you for your support. I know that we'll have our fair and rodeo chairman come in to give us a final report and a financial report in the future, but as we get all that information put together. But we had a lot of good work by a lot of individuals. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Craig. We have nothing on the consent agenda, no items of special interest, no department or committee reports tonight. So the next item is Board of Equalization matters. We need to set the Board of Equalization dates. September 1st, 3rd, 10th, 17th, 22nd, 24th, 29th, and October 1st, 6th, and 8th. And I think there's a sign-up sheet to pass around
I
for
do have-
each of us to.
I do have a sign-up sheet here, and these, I believe, are all going to be on teleconferencing, so we won't have any in-person meetings this year, which will make it a lot different. So I'll pass this around, and you can feel free to go ahead and sign up when you're available. So,
Do we need to move into the Board of Equalization to set those dates? Yes.
We do? Okay.
I'll move that we move to be the Board of Equalization and set the Board of Equalization dates as listed on the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right. Do we need to make a motion and approve those dates?
I just did, I made a double motion.
Well, but I mean, yeah, okay. All right. And we voted on that, so I guess we need to move out of the Board of Equalization. Is
So moved.
there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That was really a short Board of Equalization.
More efficient.
Yes, we are. Okay, we have a public hearing scheduled for 6 p.m. We're a long ways away from that. To open the 2020 Cache County budget. So we'll move on to item, well, not 12, because that's the resolution to amend the budget, but we'll go to 13, Resolution 2020-20, amending the Cache County Sheriff's Office fee schedule. Chad, thank you.
All right, well, thank you, and the rest of your meeting's going by pretty quick. I'll take about 30 seconds, and I'll be good, too. But thanks to County Council, just before we get to this fee thing for the fair. It was, the atmosphere at the fair, even though we didn't have the crowds and stuff, is because the carnival and some of the booths. I sat in the party booth for 3 nights and spent every night down at the fair working, and they were all 100% positive. Families were happy that they could get out and about. Law enforcement wise, I think we had 2 drunks, 3 lost parents, and a couple of wallets, which is very unusual for us during the fair time and given what sometimes happens down there. So it was a fantastic few days. So thank you for letting that move forward. It was awesome. I was a little bit skeptical. I was the naysayer in the whole thing that nobody would show up, but I was happy to be wrong for once. I don't admit being wrong very often, but I'll take the hit for that one. The fee schedule is what we're doing tonight, and as well, we do every year by resolution. We have to adopt the fees that we charge for certain services in the sheriff's office. I think all of you got this in your packet. We didn't really make very many changes. Some of these fees are just set by statute, and we just charge what the statute allows us to charge. Some of the fees that are set by the county, like background reports, we do quite a few of those, grandma requests. We didn't make any changes this year, but we just kept it consistent with what all the other agencies in our valley are charging for those services. Jail fees, most of those stayed the same. We did do a few increases on some of the medical stuff because as our costs go up, we do the best we can to keep those costs down, but we do pass some of our increases on to the inmates for the services they get in the jail. So there were some increases in some of the jail fees that we charge to the point that we can charge those fees. John?
Question, yeah. You have the dentist and some of those co-pays. Who pays the other part? Like when we house state inmates and they have to go to the dentist and they pay a $5 copay or something like that.
Any contract inmates covered by the agency, so the state pays all their medical costs, Franklin County pays all theirs, the feds pay 100% of what we don't collect through a copay. What we're responsible for is the county inmates. And, sometimes we're able to get into the insurance and the insurance pays it, and some of it we just outright eat as a county with those costs.
So there is like a blanket insurance for those carried by the county, or it's the individuals?
Individual, yeah. There was a bill passed last year, and I think it'll be beneficial to the county on a smaller extent, but even to the inmates is to let them apply for Medicaid 30 days prior to their release. That really doesn't help us because they're gonna be, we don't get anybody that comes to jail for 30 days anymore. They'll be halfway to somewhere before 30 days hits, but it will be beneficial for when they get out, especially if there's a continuation of services. If we start something in the jail, even though we may be eating that cost up front for a program or a drug program, whatever it may be, if they can get on the Medicaid and continue those services when they leave, it should be a benefit to the inmates. So I think that's a good benefit. I know there is some discussion moving into this year's session, and with COVID and everything else that happens, I'm not sure what happens with budgets, but maybe to even push that back a little farther is let them get that 60 or 90 days out. So while they're in jail, we can save some of the costs for medical because we can get into the insurance piece of it. But that piece remains to be seen yet. But the 30 days, that one did pass last year, and we'll work with Bear River Mental Health, I think, is the one who got the grant and hired some staff that can move forward and get people signed up that need to be enrolled in Medicaid. The new one that we didn't do last year, but we approved the probation piece of it. It's on mine's double-sided, but on the back piece of it, there's the cost, the fees that we charge for somebody to come in on probation. The fees that we got listed on this thing are, some of them are statutorily required. We charge what the statute allows us to charge. The ones that weren't required or had a limit by statute is we just stayed consistent with what AP&P and our other private probations and things are already doing in the valley.
Which ones are those?
What's that?
Which are those specifically?
Like the monthly probation fee, that's standard, that's a statute. UAs, there's not a statute that says what we can charge for a UA test. The standard is about $10 a test. If they go to drug court, mental health court, those kind of things, that can get taken, those costs can be taken by the courts. The ones that we require people to take is we charge them $10 to process those fees. The ankle monitor one, we actually, we reduced that one from 10 to 6. And that's because some great work done by Lieutenant Peck, and he argued with the company to get it down to $6 a day, because with probation, we're gonna add a whole lot more people to volume counts. So we charge $6 a day for the ankle monitor. If you get the alcohol monitor, then that's an additional $5 because it's a more expensive piece of equipment. With the ankle monitors, the county doesn't buy those. We have them at the office, and we only get charged when they're used. So we usually have 10 or 15 of them there, but we don't get billed for anything until we get them turned on. And the only thing that does is that's just transferring the cost from the county to the inmate. That's why we want people to be on it, we want to be successful, and we let them pay for it, and it doesn't cost really us anything unless somebody doesn't pay their bill. So that's really only all the fees that we have, and the only really changes that came about was the probation fees that we got that mid-year. Last year we started that, we got the process going, but we talked about last year in the budget that we wouldn't pull the trigger and get everybody hired for probation until mid-year because it was going to take us some time to get people hired in the academy and stuff out. I think we're still 2 holes down that we haven't filled. Not just generally speaking overall, we've moved people around to get them into those positions in probation, but we've had some retirements and stuff that we're working on backfilling those positions, but we're down to 2 holes that we still got to get filled, and that may take some time.
Question, Chad. I'm not familiar with an alcohol monitor. Explain to me what that is and what it does and how it actually works.
There's a couple of different ways to do it. You can get them like handhelds. It can be a wrist monitor. What the alcohol monitor is, it has to be ordered by the court. So you can wear the alcohol monitor, but you have to physically take the test. It doesn't like read you and say, oh, Chad drank beer. But if the judge orders you got to be on an alcohol monitor, then you set up the rule to say you're going to call us, or we're going to go witness you do this, and you're going to take it so many times a day, whatever the judges stipulate to, and it's recorded. there's a new one out that's like on cell phone, so it's basically a smartphone. You can talk on the phone, we can witness them do it, they can blow into the phone and their alcohol monitor, and it records it. We get a witness it happening, and it just keeps a running record of,
So you actually got,
Yes.
you got it sophisticated enough that you can have a cell phone, that you breathe onto the cell phone and it will measure the alcohol
Yep.
content and then, of course, transmit it.
yeah, well, we have like the PBTs like all the patrol guys carry. It just looks like a cell phone, but it's just nothing but that, and you put a straw on the end of it, and you blow into it, and it reads, but it just doesn't record anywhere. With the new systems is you can literally, it looks like a cell phone that you can talk on, you can FaceTime. It's got the same tube that you plug into it, and you just blow into the tube. We can witness it happening, then it gets recorded, it gets transmitted, and there's a record that test took place. So, I mean, there's some great technology out there, and we're not, like we talked about before, we want people to be successful and not soaking for every nickel we can, but on the flip side of that is we shouldn't foot the whole bill for all that, and if we can pass along the cost to them and let them pay for their probation, that's really the goal, what we're trying to achieve.
How collectible are these fees?
What's that?
How collectible are these fees?
About like any other fee that we charge. 30% would be, 40% would be a pretty high number.
By the way, the alcohol monitor doesn't work with a mask on.
Is that right?
So,
Maybe that's why they require it in Logan City, huh?
you know, it's funny how these things go, like our civil papers and stuff. I mean, technology is a great thing, but, and it's really efficient for us, but, I mean, more and more, and we've done a lot of readjusting in our office and moving people around, because civil wasn't what it was. 10 years ago would serve 15,000, 20,000 civil papers a year. But courts and attorneys and people are so willing to take electronic signatures now that personal service isn't required. So we've moved some people around and reduced some of our secretarial staff and some of those things to basically to keep up with technology that's, and it's all good stuff. I mean, it's much more efficient if we can do things like that. So it's a never moving chessboard.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any other questions? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we do have this initial proposal for consideration of action.
I'll make a motion to waive the rules and we just adopt it tonight.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Are there any opposed? Thank you. Well, we're on to the back page here. Let's discuss the USAC Fall Conference in Midway again, I presume at the Homestead. Is that where that's going to be?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
There is going to be a USAC call. Did any of you get the email about that? It's next Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Check that. And there was an email that went out from the Utah Association of Counties. That was, yes, there's a public lands meeting call in at 8 o'clock and a USAC call at 9 a.m.
Okay.
So I'll try and forward that information to council if you want to be involved in that.
Okay.
They're trying to get more input in what the agenda should be for that meeting. I think, well, we may want to have a discussion about the class of counties and legislation we need to meet the needs that we've got for our county classification. Changing the population level for us to go to a second-class county, which we don't want to do.
County of the second class.
County of the second class. We all know we're a first-class county.
That's right.
All right. Does anyone know at this stage if they'll be able to go or not?
I'd be able to.
Yeah, and I will too.
Can we go, I'd like to go, but I don't know if I'll be able to go all 3 days,
Okay,
I'm sure you're welcome to go to as much or all of
Okay.
it as you can.
I'm not sure, but I did notice on our signups for the Board of Equalization that it is scheduled on those days, so you might want to be aware of that.
Okay, that's a good catch.
yeah.
Okay, and the next convention is in St. George in November, the UAC Annual Convention. We talked about that a little bit in our noon meeting today about how that's going to work with the meeting limits of 50, so
Might be lifted by then.
maybe. Again, put me down. Janine, I plan to go.
Put me down as well.
I'll be there also, Janine.
Janine, I'll be there too.
Down to me and you, John, what are you gonna do?
John, go.
I'm going.
Well, us too, though.
Forte. Forte for John.
Okay, we're on council member reports now. Dave, we'll start on the south end.
I want to reiterate, amazing fair and rodeo. It was it was really good. There's something for everyone. The Saturday night, I thought was extremely special for, during the rodeo, the honor that they gave to the law enforcement, armed services, I mean, all of them. It was really a moving moment there. So I'm just so grateful for being able to celebrate as a county that which God gives us stewardship of in a county, and we're able to bring it to a county fair. I think that's pretty special. So that's all I have.
Thank you. John?
I liked the fair too, my kids did. It was great, and like we talked about before, I personally don't care if there's a carnival again or not. I liked it spread out. I thought my kids were there all day, every day it was there, doing livestock, and that's probably the only thing that we do as a family consistently every year. If you're a farmer, you're always busy, but to have not had that, there was no reward for what had gone into it, and it was a good thing.
Thank you. Barbara, anything you want to describe?
Echo the comments.
The signs that are on the,
Yeah, I do.
on the street?
Yes, I echo the comments for the fair. I totally enjoyed it. I sent you a picture of the banners that are on Main Street announcing our cash celebration of women's suffrage event on August 26th at 6:30, and it's going to be here on the steps out here, and we invite everyone to come to it. It's going to last an hour. We're going to have 5 speakers. Then we'll have a few demos set up, our education demonstration, and some different banners there also, but we're really excited about it. This is the one that was canceled in March, and we've made some different changes to it, and we are having it outside so we can physically distance and still have a nice celebration with it. So please come. There's one more thing I was going to add about it. If I remember it, I will. But anyway, anything that you can think to add on it, Gina?
There's, after our event, there's the film.
Yeah.
You can tell about
Yeah,
that.
thank you. There is a film at the Utah. Yeah.
I can't remember, that's why
Okay,
that's why I
Utah
swung it
Theater,
back to you.
and it's called Unladylike Films, but it has to do with the suffrage movement, and that's free to the public, so you can move from here and go over there and watch those films too. So.
Can we come even if we're not sure it was a good thing?
But the Unladylike Films,
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie.
The movie. I vote for women.
Oh, no.
But please come, we are excited about it.
Great, thank you so much. Gina?
I just wanted to echo about the fair. It was really fun. There was a good feeling there. One of the things I loved was watching the kids, and the kids were so excited to be there and watching them dancing to the music and just having a good time. And I felt like it was something that we all needed, that community spirit, that being there doing something fun like that. And I'm really glad that we moved forward with it. Thought it was really successful.
Thank you. Gordy?
Well, I'm gonna echo the same thing about the fair. I grew up at the fair. I've been, going to the fair since I was just a little boy, and I've participated in the livestock side of it. And there was a special jovial type atmosphere at the fair this time that I thought was definitely present, and that was really, really special. We're into the next generation of showmen, and I got some grandchildren that are starting to show cattle again, and the one little boy, he had done quite well, and he had really put a lot of effort into the project and that, and when it was time to go home, he was sad. He was crying that he was sad the fair was over, and that's, I think, why we have fairs. But I'm just so glad that we did it. I'm glad that we took the abuse that we took. I told Mont Holtzen at the fair, I said, I'm sure glad that you went ahead with the fair, and Lane and that. It took a lot of the heat off of us as the council. You got to enjoy that just like we've been. And he says, the one thing that I want the council to know is that never did I, how should I say it, I always knew without a doubt that you had my back, that you was supporting me no matter what I did, and that was good that he felt that way, that he was never concerned about what we were going to say or what we were going to do. We were going to have the fair, and it went forth. And he's an asset to our county, he and Lane both.
He is.
But anyway, we also got to remember that Jill put years and years and years as the fair manager, and she did a very excellent job in the years that she did it. But anyway, she's also happy that it's moved on to someone else.
We got a smile out of her.
Yeah.
One thing more about the fair, Craig. We debated whether or not to put those booths over there and block off the creek. You notice the kids are all in the creek.
The big kids would like to have been in the creek too, but
There were some right over.
Paul?
Well, I think I'll just keep with that theme, and the one thing I want to bring up about the fair was in that report that I gave last time, those disease mitigation measures. So D.A. Henderson, he was the guy that's basically credited for stopping the smallpox virus around the world. I mean, he really spearheaded that, and he was the author of this report. And he ends that whole report by saying an overriding principle: experience has shown that communities faced with epidemics or other adverse events respond best and with the least anxiety when the normal social functioning of the community is least disrupted. And I think the fair showed that Sheriff Jensen, your deputies did just a bang-up job. I was there, I saw them interacting with people. You saw a normal functioning society. You saw people being respectful of each other. The patriotic celebration at the beginning of the rodeos was just very moving. The kids were there. We least disrupted the normal social functioning of Cache County, and we showed what people can do and how they can interact and how they can be respectful, how they can physically distance and things around the fairgrounds. I was just absolutely blown away by that, and I'm looking forward to having Lamont and Lane here so we can really give them kudos for what a wonderful event they put on. We appreciate that.
Can I add something?
Yes,
I thought of?
yes.
Since the press is here, and I don't want to be misunderstood, because that happens out there. Not that it's your fault. People take things I wanted to say that I watched people in lines, and they've got the drill down. They were physically distanced. People were keeping their space. They were being careful. And also in support of having the fair, like Craig mentioned, there had been other events that were outside that did not show a spike. The riots or protests, I guess, whichever you prefer to call them, there was a study that did not show that spiked, even though it was all across the United States. I looked at that before giving support, as well as the July 4th event at Mount Rushmore with President Trump. Their state epidemiologist noted that they did not have a spike. And so I want to put that forth because I think sometimes there are some who think that the county council is irresponsible and don't understand that we have taken an in-depth look at things before making a decision, because we don't always verbalize that so well. So I just wanted to verbalize that we were careful, that the health department was involved in the fairgrounds or the fair meeting, and that we were careful, but that we felt it very important to our community to move forward with the fair. And I felt it was important to make that clear.
Thank you. Okay. That concludes our reports. We've got 25 minutes before the scheduled public hearing.
So is there any way we can table a public hearing for another meeting?
I don't know.
Is that legal?
It's noticed.
James?
Can we change the time? I mean, James, what kind of latitude do we have where we've expended all of our,
Can we stand adjourned for 15
Because the
minutes?
county likes public comment, by the way.
yeah.
I mean, my whole thought on this, by making that comment, if there's anyone here that came specifically for the public hearing, let's have it, but if it's,
Well, maybe they didn't get off work and won't be here till 6
well,
o'clock.
that's a possibility too.
Yeah.
Can we stand adjourned for a few minutes and come back?
Absolutely stand adjourned. Obviously, the council can continue that, but you need to have a public hearing, and you can adjourn the meeting until 6 o'clock and then reconvene and take any public comment at that time.
Well, we got some questions. We haven't got any questions about the budget? Things we could talk about.
Cameron present that and answer any questions,
Yeah,
which will get us closer to the 6 o'clock.
okay. Let's do that.
While he's coming up, I had some, I was looking through the bills we paid. Some of those tables for the senior citizen were pretty spendy. And then,
Outdoor table is similar to what we have out here on the patio. They're about $800 a piece now.
and then my other question was, where did, we get with the opera company, and they were gonna apply to get some COVID money? Whatever happened? We never did. Maybe I'm the only one that didn't hear, but I don't.
They have
Haven't heard.
resubmitted their application. We reviewed that, and we did send them a letter accepting their application that we refund them. So
Oh, that's great.
they will be getting it.
As well as CAPSA, correct?
Right.
I don't have a complete, concise list of who has applied and what they're getting, but we'll get that together and send it to you in an email.
Craig, can you just describe the process for us so we're familiar with it?
So we have distributed to the application form to those who are interested and made that available on our website. And so those forms come in. Bryce is kind of the gatekeeper for those forms, and when he gets those, we review those. I've got a committee that I've put together with Bryce, myself, and Cameron and Phil in our finance office. We review those to make sure that they qualify under the guidelines that we have for the relief fund. This is for, yes, the CARES Act. And so we review those to make sure that they are meeting the requirements of the funding. And then the act basically says that it is the executive that makes the decision for the government entity as to whether or not they qualify and whether they'll be funded and at what level. So we didn't fund the opera's full request because we felt like there was some room that they could make some requests for through Logan City for some of the funding. So that's all.
Thanks, Craig.
Is that enough?
Yes, thank you.
Explanation? Okay.
All right, Cameron. Describe to us what we're going to be talking about.
Money. It's always money, right? You know, and there's a lot of scientific stuff about masks and how effective they are, but I can tell you for sure that if you've had onions for dinner on your sandwich, the mask is very effective at keeping that inside the mask. I've just discovered that.
I also learned that if you've been out working the yard and you're allergic to something, and you go to a meeting and you start to sneeze, you sure feel better when you have a mask on.
So of the budget amendments that we've ever had, this one's a rather short one, but also a large one at the same time as far as the dollars involved. And the dollars involved primarily related to the CARES Act, to the Coronavirus Relief Fund that was distributed to the state and then out to local governments by population. If your population was over 500,000, you did get a direct disbursement from the federal government, but of course in our case, ours was passed through the state. So, and they'll come in three pieces. Our first piece came in June, and this is where we're recognizing then that as additional revenue to the county and the federal grant. And I've added some additional accounts to our general ledger to track this. So this is very specific to the Coronavirus Relief Fund. And that first payment was $3,934,200. So we'll recognize that as revenue. One other issue unrelated is in the sheriff's office, the contracts with municipalities increased in cost, that there can be additional patrolling services, and so this is recognizing that increase in contract revenue for the $29,000. And that's really all the increase there is at this point to the general fund, or that we're addressing tonight, for a total of $3,963,300. And then you can see that $29,100 being allocated out for full-time employees and related payroll tax and benefits. Pretty straightforward. Then you see what will be now a new department here, each account, detailing out what we're doing with that $3,934,000 for the relief fund. And there's several, I guess, relatively small projects, one big project, and then there's just a lump sum to balance out the 3.9 million. So the small projects, you can see some was already mentioned, the cafeteria tables, picnic tables, and so forth. Some specific requests that we have at this time, and others we don't have yet. So here in this 620 line where it says community assistance, 2,357,000. All of that is not already assigned out to any specific expense. It's put in this account knowing that that's where we'll draw from as these applications come in. For example, the Festival Opera Company will be paid out of this line. I don't remember each one maybe off the top of my head, but I think we're around 400,000 to 500,000 in what's been requested and awarded out at this point, although we've got new applications in so far, and we'll be meeting again this week on those. The largest single request that we have then for the county is at 1.4 million, and this is the acquisition of a building and land for the Children's Justice Center and some renovations to that facility to bring it up to par for what its intended use is, but with the allowance for the social distancing. And right now that's been a tremendous challenge with being able to have people that need to be in and having them separated for interviews and so on. I don't know if Terrell's here, James is here, maybe speak to it, but Terrell's not here. But I think she's discussed that with several of you already, and certainly with the executive. And so that proposal here, using those funds for that purpose, is in this budget as well. The only other issue going on in this amendment is similarly related. It is from the CARES Act, but it's not through the Coronavirus Relief Fund. It's at a different funding source out of the CARES Act. But the airport received a direct grant of $69,000 to carry out a project, and so that's both appropriated as revenue to be received and funds to be expended. And that's all I've got.
Okay.
Any questions? All right, thanks.
We're kind of silent up here.
I have a question for the sheriff. Chad, I was just curious on the employee, was that for a probation, or was that for a city that you're gonna have a new deputy in?
Well, it's for patrol, which will be in several cities. We did some work with the hours and our contract rate that went up, and there was enough money that we could do another employee. We're in great shape with the cities, but what that kind of does, it takes away from the unincorporated county, which we're getting that back and being all the places that we need.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Well,
I had one question on the Children's Justice Center there. I thought that land was already donated. I thought, maybe I'm wrong. I thought it had been donated.
Yeah, so that project's been pushed back. We've been working closely with the Maloof people. We did have property that they were willing to donate, and we would be fundraising and moving that project forward. Of course, with everything that's been going on in the business world that's been impacted on this, that's been pushed off, and it's 3+ years, 4 years out. This current building is a residence in Logan City. It's a home, it's a rather large home actually. We're paying about $81 per square foot for the home. It's pretty cheap. And it's a home that's been on the market for some time. It's on an acre of property. It has a lot of off-street parking, everything that we've been looking for. And when we started our project with Maloof, we were actually looking for property in Logan City, but it was really hard to come by, quite frankly. But this property is ideally situated in Logan where there's easy access to it. We'll continue to work with Maloof. Their belief is we'll grow out of this building and that we'll need a building at Maloof. So those discussions are still being had with Maloof. They're actually assisting us in the remodel of this project, being able to leverage their contacts with the construction industry and being able to get people in. At this time, it's kind of difficult to get some of the remodeling done. So that was correct. They were willing to do that, and that was the project, but that's all been put on hold for in the future. But Executive Butters has been to the property. We'd invite any of you if you'd like to come view that property. It's got a wonderful garden out back. It has an opportunity. Our current CJC has no yard. And so when we're working with parents after interviews, we're really, actually we can only have one family in at a time. We can't meet the needs of the domestic violence victims and the sexual children who are victims of sexual assault or our adult victims, and this building will provide us that opportunity to meet that need. And so, any other questions? I hope rambled on long enough, Commissioner.
Thank you.
thank you.
I thought we were still on that other project, so.
Good heavens, we got time. This is the first time he quits talking.
Who's going for ice cream?
I guess the question I got for Amy Adams, do we have any information on our insurance? There's an estimate of 8%. Is there anything that's coming in?
We have a meeting on Tuesday, so from today, and then I can give you more information at that point.
So nothing really to report.
I'm hoping for less than 8% though. So if I'll fingers crossed, that would be great.
Well, that tells me that things are looking pretty good as far as usage.
Barbara had a good suggestion. Do you want to come and give us an update on our roads, building, et cetera, out in Hiram? What's going on there?
Sure.
Make it worth your time to be here.
You didn't know you'd have to speak, did you?
I didn't, but I'm grateful for the opportunity. The roads building is coming along very well. I don't know if anyone of you have snuck back there since our last visit or went by there, but the Corona relief package is of some interest to me though, because one of the hardest things that we faced during construction is supply and demand. There's a lot of supply, a lot of the supply chains have been, you know, inundated, or they're slow, or they're workers. So probably the biggest challenge for us is to stay on schedule. Our budget still looks good, but our schedules have been very hard to come by. But the building that you guys toured that was up and had some of the shell on it, the concrete has been poured. They're doing work inside of it. They're hanging doors. We have a wash building that they're setting the walls for. Those were precast, so there's a big crane on site setting the walls. There's a lot of activity going on. Things are moving along well. So if there's any specific questions, but I'm happy with our progress. I'm happy with our budget. But really the only thing that set us back very much is just, you know, some of these companies that when we bid and ordered our supplies, they're backlogged, or there's not enough product going around. So some of our products have been delayed, which if we can't stay on budget or on schedule will cost us money, you know, to do things during the winter again, and some of our other contracts. But
So realistically, from a, looking at a standpoint, when do you anticipate that project being completed?
we have been, our recent meetings, we have been told that we will be able to operate this winter. As far as having the storage for our trucks and some of our equipment. As far as the administrative building, that's in March. Probably the end of February, beginning of March is the current schedule for us to be in there operating. So.
When the road is complete, when we went there through the Corlessa Johnson side of it.
Correct.
And the county's got the big cut in there that they've done a lot of work as far as gravel and bar pit and stuff. Tell us, is that where we are going to enter, or is that only going to be the trucks that enter there? You know, you're getting to the point where you almost could go to a grade and lay asphalt in it, aren't you?
Right. Our road crews will be constructing a rock wall during this week at the entrance right there. But that entrance will be for public and for vehicular traffic, for cars. So if you're coming to the office, that would be the road that you would take. We're trying to limit the construction traffic, the big trucks, and some of those other, more of our facilities maintenance type, we'll still use LeGrand's entrance. Over the next 5 years, we'll be required by UDOT to improve that access and add turning lanes on it. So the county, as part of our access with UDOT, we will have to improve that access and do some turning lanes within the next 5 years. But the intent forever is to still have our trucks go out the back door and pedestrian, or, you know, someone's coming to see the fire or the Public Works Department, they'll use the access that we're constructing.
Public access right there for the general public at that.
And their parking lot will be accessible from that road. Other than that, everything will be gated, so they will not be able to access the property from LeGrand's side. So.
The building, that was, you know, the supplies for that kind of stuff, that was bid, wasn't it? Why?
It was bid, so the prices really haven't changed. It's just been trying to get those on time.
Even if they have to do it in the winter, that's
Well,
their maybe, not ours, isn't it?
partially, because when we bid the job, the general contractor said, here's our time frame, here's what we're going to charge you to manage your project for, you know, 12 months, 14 months. So if that schedule starts to slip, it's written into our contract that we will pay them extra money for those months of.
Even though it's
Yeah.
involved, so to speak. It isn't, but it is.
Correct, yeah.
Good contract.
So is it legal for us to go up there to the council and just snoop around, drive around?
It is. I would just recommend that you wear your, if there's any construction activities going on, just wear your safety gear and probably I would check in at the office
Is
and
that just the mask that you're talking
a
about?
hard hat, safety vest.
Hard hat.
But you guys, I would recommend that you just go check in if there's someone there and let them know that you're there and, yeah, you're free.
You can drive in like I just act dumb and drive around.
They don't care. I figured that's the way it was. You just go in and
Yeah.
drive around.
Well, if you drive in one of the little holes, we'll come and get you out. I did pass something to Janine today. I don't know if she had a copy, but we've been trying to decide on a name and kind of the format of the letters for the sign that will be at the road. I think we've came to Cache County is a little bit bigger lettering on it, and Public Works and Fire District will be on the sign. So we're just trying to finalize, how big those letters will be and if they're on 3 lines or 2 lines. But if you guys are interested, I would email you a copy, and your suggestions are more than welcome.
Now, are they gonna do a rock wall on both sides of that cut?
No, just on the south side. Any other questions?
Any other questions for Joel?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for
Thank you,
taking up
Joel.
some time.
Yeah, thanks for the impromptu speech.
Yeah.
Who else hasn't spoken?
Yeah, who hasn't spoken to us?
Thinking that we're gonna get residential.
From the what?
Okay, well,
Yeah,
we're 3 minutes before 6.
yeah, there is. a
We've
cool
had the
video
introduction by Cameron.
Probably have access to it. That'd be great. Little video of the fair is pretty cool.
He's not paying attention.
No.
Say it again real loud. He's back there just about asleep.
We've had the introduction by Cameron, so really the only thing left to do is open a public hearing. And,
So move. What?
We just have to close it.
No?
no. Well, we're a little bit early, but maybe we're close enough. We'll open this budget hearing, the public hearing, part of this county budget opening to anyone who wants to say anything. We got John, we got the press, we got Von Benson out there. So, but nobody's moving. Vaughn, did you want to say anything in our public hearing? Nope, okay. All right. Yeah,
Please?
Waiting for you.
Well, you can close it.
we have a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Do we have to wait till 6?
Yeah, we have to
I
wait till
don't think
6.
you can close it till 6 o'clock.
Yeah, well,
6:01.
anybody got any good jokes?
I have a cute little story from the fair.
All right, good.
Sold.
And it's Sheriff Jensen. He was there, putting in his time at the booth there, and, there was a little girl that came up. I wish I'd gotten a picture of it, and she had one of those hand fans. And, he says, I'm really hot, can you fan my head for me? And he put his head down, and she was just a fanning it for him. It was really cute. Yeah. It was real cute. And I said, man, I wish I'd had a picture of that.
#1 fan.
Yeah, yeah.
There were some really great things. I mean, I did not hear one negative comment about any piece or any part of the rodeo, the fair, the 4-H kids. The families were happy, the kids were yipping around it. It was a good 3 days.
Yeah,
It
I
really was a
agree.
good 3 days.
Somebody was complaining, they were just doing it quietly, I mean,
Yeah, been to 28 fairs and worked 28 fairs, and
Well, I haven't received any negative comments post-fair. I received several prior to saying, "Are you guys nuts?" And,
You guys nuts, or you?
yeah,
It's a great big county COVID party.
yep, that's what, you must have had the same email I did.
Yeah.
Well, it is 6 o'clock.
Wait till it stops striking and then we can.
Move we close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Man, it felt like high council meeting. It just kept going on and on.
All right, then, we can go to number 12 on our agenda, pending action, Resolution 2020-19, amending the 2020 Cache County budget. Anybody?
Make a motion that we adopt that resolution.
I'll second that.
Wait,
It's pending.
Is it pending? Okay. Sorry.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Okay, it passes. And I close the meeting.
Not quite a record.
Not quite a
But you
record.
tried.
That was Janine.